Hey folks, hope you're doing good today. Hope you've enjoyed the shows that we've put on this week because, man, I've been absolutely loving recapping, checking out the greatest of the great bands that we've had on the show this year. Still only skim the surface of what we've had on because I can't play all the bands that are great again because it'd just be another year's worth of videos pretty much. But man, the absolute cream of the crop that's come through on this channel is just perfection music. And I said in the other video that the underground scene nowadays is just unbelievable for quality. It used to be back in the day you'd only find a few good bands here and there, and the kind of underground and amateur scene was very amateur. That's not the case anymore. It's sounding almost professional. People can do their own mixes. Today we're going to see people who've done their own mixes who pretty much sound as good as anyone else out there, and really getting the job done nicely. What I want to talk about today is one of my favorite subjects, and that's one-man bands, because I absolutely love one-man bands. If you watch this channel and you've seen any of my one-man band videos, you'll know I can just wax lyrical about one-man bands all day long and talk about all the different aspects of about being in a one-man band and how cool I think that is. Probably end up doing that today as well because I can't help myself. But what I've done today is pulled out 4 of the one-man bands that come through on this channel. They're guys that like to make submissions, like to get their music talked about, like to hear me talking about their music. You know, we just checked them out a lot. We get to see them evolve. I love talking about how they've gone about doing all the different aspects of their project, from recording the music to mixing it down to making a video and putting it out there, promoting themselves. They've got merch and all the rest of it, doing and ticking all the boxes that a big band would do and that would normally take, you know, a whole bunch of people, 6, 7, 8 different people to get that job done, and they're doing it all by themselves. I've got a lot of respect for it. Not only that as well, I'm a one-man band myself, so I appreciate what all the tasks are to get done, but I actually love it as well that there's so much to learn there. There's so much to get involved with and put your mind to and get inspired by. It's just, you know, once you've opened the door to recording yourself and doing a bit of mixing, it's just, there's no holds barred there, and it's absolutely freedom to just create and be expressive with music. So dope. So the 4 bands that I've lined up today, these are all bands that I've spoke to outside the show. I know these people kind of personally as best as you can through the internet. We've spoken a lot with mates, and I've spoken to them about other stuff, about their mixes and things outside the show and given them tips and stuff like that. Very, very cool. I like all these guys. I like what they're doing. I'm very on board with their music because I can see it growing and evolving, and it's already at the stage now where it's pretty much professional quality. You wouldn't say that it sounds amateur or anything like that. So very, very dope. Now, while these guys are one-man bands, some of them do work with other people, and they've kind of got a bit of an online posse. They get people to do their mixes sometimes. They sometimes, you know, get people to do the music and the production for them. I still count those people as a one-man band because it's still all their ideas, and they're kind of bringing the biggest ingredients to the table. So it's very, very dope. The first guy we're going to check out is Nxxses. If you watch this channel, you'll have seen him a bunch of times because we've had him on the show bunch of times. He loves being on the channel. He loves hearing me talk about his music and getting promoted via the channel and stuff like that, because there's not a lot of places for these kind of guys to get that done. That's one of the reasons I started this channel, for these type of bands, definitely. Now, we've checked out a few tracks of his this year, and I would say from the start of the year there's really been a big improvement and a step up in what they're doing. He works with Alex Savina, who, you know, I've also talked about a lot, and has got a very high quality professional mix. I'm sure that guy in 2022 is going to break through into the professional scene and get big bands asking him to do his mixes and stuff like that. But they work together very nicely on this kind of project. Super nasty down-tempo deathcore with the most gargling, nasty vocals you can ever imagine. And the way the vocals are recorded are super nice. You hear every last nuance of the vocal because the vocal in this music is a big part of it. There's a lot of vocal technique that goes into this kind of music. These are the guys that really practice all the different areas of their throat to try and get different tones out of their throat. They take it to the next level. It's super dope. The one track that we listened to this year, which was kind of recent in September, was the one that I thought really stood out and captured that professional sound, but also was the absolute nastiest recoiling track you could imagine as well. 10 out of 10. So let's check this one out today. This is Hxnged. Here we go. Great sound already. Never quite heard vocals recorded with such a clarity that you can hear. It really feels like you're falling down his throat.
Limbs from limbs and crushed up bones. My blood stains the pavement. Now scarlet stone.
So deep. This is such an amazing track. Just reminded today of how great this mix is. Alex did such a killer job on this track. It's one of the best sounding tracks I've ever heard. It's one of the most loud, extreme, deep, nasty. And the vocal recording as well, you don't hear the clarity and the way he's picked up all the different nuance of his throat. You just don't normally hear it come through with that amount of clarity. And the way it's also mixed into the music. This is an amazing track. These guys, I think they need to try and push this track a bit harder because, or at least their next tracks, if they're going to sound like this as well, because this is a top level deathcore track. It's heavier than anything I've heard before. The deepness of those guitars, and they're obviously tuned to like drop Z or something like that, but they've still got a nice tightness to it. There's so much deep low end to them as well. Man, it just sounds amazing, because most of the track is just chug, it's just like jung jung, but it sounds so full and wide and deep and just fills the mix in your ears with sound, even though it's just a chug. That's amazing. That is really amazing. So I think these guys absolutely killed it on this track. And hopefully in 2022, they're just going to build on this. And I don't really know how they're going to make it any heavier or nastier, because it's so extreme in those directions. But if they can manage to squeeze any more out of it, go for it, because it's sounding amazing. And I can't believe, at some point, people are going to hear this and go, holy shit. That's the heaviest shit I've ever heard, and they're gonna, they're gonna get on board. So I wouldn't be surprised if in 2022 we see that guy blow up, and Alex with his mixes. The next guy we're going to check out, I've got his cap on today. This is Cincinatti Bowtie, a guy from the UK. I've got a lot of respect for this guy, purely for the amount of effort that he puts into his production and his projects, because he does everything himself, from writing the tracks to recording the tracks to mixing the tracks, mastering it down, making a video, usually in his living room, but with a bunch of extra stuff that he's thought of to try and make the video look cool. Then he edits down the video and puts it out on the internet and promotes it. He's got merch for all of his stuff. He makes cool album sleeves for all his albums and stuff as well. He sent me a bunch of CDs and stuff in the post. Super dope. This guy ticks every box that he can possibly think of, and he doesn't just do it kind of slap-handedly and just to get the job done. He puts in a lot of effort, and he gets the job done nicely. And as a one-man band, I think this guy's absolutely killing it, because he's pure one-man band. He doesn't mess about with other people really. He gets the job done all on his own, and I just think that's so dope. And for the quality that he's pumping out as well, I'm going to say in 2022, if this guy keeps going as he has been going throughout this year, and he's been very busy this year, and if he still keeps up that kind of passion for the music and putting music out there, and 2022 is just as good as 2021 for him, I'm going to say by the end of next year, this guy is going to be putting out stuff, and you won't be able to tell whether it's from a professional 5-man band or whether it's from a 1-man band, because this guy is really, really close. He's just got to get a few final polishing and nuancing things within his mix to just make the sound that crisp, clarity, deathcore sound that you want to hear nowadays, because the producers nowadays that make the deathcore, like Alex is doing, are really going above and beyond. It doesn't just sound like kind of 2018, 2019 deathcore. In the last year or two, it's taken on an extra level of mixing clarity and power, the way the guitar tones sound, and that vocal recording with the clarity and all the rest of it. And it's just those final touches that I think this guy needs to add to his projects, and he's going to be there all on his own. How amazing is that? This is Cincinatti Bowtie, the track we're going to check out today, which is one I enjoyed the most of the stuff that he sent through, is Table for One. Let's check it out. Watch out if you're sensitive. It's not just basic music, there's lots of layers in there. There's dual guitars, vocal layering, sick drumming. Doing a great job. Nice energy in this one. Just relentless, this track. Drums sound great. Did an amazing job on this one. I'm reminded today of just how much effort and the quality that this guy pumps out all on his own. Amazing. I'm pretty sure that video was filmed in his living room with a bunch of lights and stuff like that. And I'd say it looks as good as any deathcore video I've seen, and higher quality than a lot of the videos that have come through from bands, full bands, in the last year. Just really, really high quality for one person. I think he's getting the job absolutely done amazingly. Super nice. I've got a lot of respect for that guy. And as I say, as long as he's still got the passion, because I found last year I pumped out like 9 or 10 albums. I was so inspired, and just really kept recording, kept coming up with ideas. In the last year, I think I put out 3 albums, which is still pretty good, but I haven't felt as inspired or had the drive and passion to make as much music this year as I did last year. And that might be the case for him next year, because you do kind of sometimes get a bit burnt out as a one-man band, because there's so much to do. You know, when you want to write a track, it's not like when you're in a band and you've got, if you're the guitarist, all you got to do is come up with a few riffs and the other guys will sort out the rest. You know, you got to come up with everything yourself. And when you're writing tracks like this, 4-minute tracks with a ton of riffs in there, blazing energy, loads of different drum beats, you got to do all the vocal layering, you got to think of some kind of lead guitar to go with it as well, do the bass. You know, there's a lot of tasks at hand just to get one idea down. But that can also be the thing that inspires you, because you're like, man, I've got this idea for a riff, so let's write the bass riff for it, let's write the drums for it. And as long as you've got that passion and that drive, you just keep going with it. Super dope. I'm hoping that next year I'm going to get that drive back. It does come and go for me. I find that, you know, it happened to me a few years back as well. Put out a bunch of ideas and then the next year just kind of sat back and didn't really have a lot. But what that does mean as well is when you then get back into it, you've got to kind of loosen up on the guitar again, because I haven't been practicing my guitar as much, and just kind of get back into the role of it. So it takes a bit of time to do that. When you're always keeping that perpetual motion going, it just builds and builds and builds like a snowball. I think we're going to see a lot of stuff from that guy in the next year. The next guy I want to talk about is a guy who I worked with personally on an album this year, did some vocals for me, very, very nice. He does do vocals for a lot of different bands if they ask him and stuff like that, because he has got a certain vocal style that goes with a certain style of music very, very nicely. I wrote a track and I thought, yeah, his vocals are going to go well with that. And they did. They slot in just exactly as I wanted them to, because he works his vocal in a certain way. And once you've got used to that, you've got an idea of what he's going to do if you've written some music for him. This is Seethe. He put an EP out, which we listened to the whole of, because it's only 6.5 minutes, but I thought we won't listen to all of it today because I'm just spinning one track of each. But the third track on this album was the one I enjoyed the most because I thought it was the most intense. This is a trap metal kind of EP, but it's very loud, very heavy and oppressive, just more with an electronic edge rather than guitars and bass and drums and stuff like that. It's very cool. Check it out. Let me remind us what the name of this track is, A Means to an End. See what you think. Very loud, very wide. Very cool. Did a great job on this of creating a loud, oppressive sound, but not using guitars and your typical drums and stuff like that. And that gives it the energy of metal, you know. It doesn't necessarily sound like metal guitars and stuff like that and distortion in that way, but it's definitely metal because it's so loud, it's oppressive, it's got that energy, it's aggressive, and all those things are the boxes that you tick to create metal as well. So I think I enjoyed this sound. Now, I'm no authority on trap metal. I'm really a kind of newbie when it comes to that stuff, but from the stuff that I have heard, this is sounding pretty nice as far as I'm concerned, because you can get into it. It's heavy, it's loud. It gives you the same kind of things that you want to get from heavy metal and loud music. The vocals obviously quite metal, a lot of distortion and stuff on there. It's got a new metal edge to this guy as well. So he brings in those elements via the vocal as well. But I would say just with the music, it's not typical trap, you know. It's not kind of bassy, hip-hoppy trap music. It's got the trappy drum and the beat in there, but the sounds that they use, the way that they've mixed it and pumped it and widened it out, just brings in a big heavy sound to the music. So yeah, I got on board with this one. I enjoyed it a lot, and I think within the trap metal scene, as little as I know about it, I think this is the kind of stuff that should be getting an ear, and people should be noticing, because some of the other stuff I've heard is just guys kind of doing a bit more of an aggressive rap over regular trap music, and they call that trap metal. That doesn't do a lot for me, really. I've heard people trying to bring in the ticky drum trap trap drums into guitar-y music? And I'm not sure that's quite the answer either. I think from the formulas that I have heard, this kind of loud, electronic, distorted music is a nice way to go, and then bring in more of a metal vocal to the, instead of having a shouty rap, have a regular metal vocal, and then kind of use the trap element in the music is how I would approach it myself. So yeah, I think these guys are doing a very nice job. Very, very cool. The last guy I want to talk about today is Blind Equation. This guy does Nintendo Core and Cyber Grind and kind of wacky out there stuff. And this guy, I'm going to say as well, in 2022, if he keeps going on as he has this year, because he's also put out a lot of stuff and videos, and we've checked him out on the show a whole bunch of times. I think he's going to get noticed, and he has started getting noticed. What's the guy? I forget the guy's name who does all the video reviews. The Needle Drop, is it? But anyway, he checked out this Blind Equation this year on one of his streams and said, hey, this is a guy you got to check out because, you know, he's doing all right and this is different stuff. And I agreed with it. We got to him before he did. But anyway, this guy makes very, very cool music. It's not for everyone. It's kind of difficult listening, like a lot of the bands have been today. You're either into this stuff or you're not, I would say. But yeah, I think it's very, very cool. I like Cyber Grind and Nintendo Core, bringing in those electronic elements again instead of just using guitars and drums and stuff like that. As long as you pump it up, make it loud, distort the synthy sounds, and bring in that, you know, energy that you want to get from the metal, it works out in my opinion. So let's check this one out. This is called LCD Dem. Let's get it on the screen. Here we go. I like the distortion on the vocal. It's got a harshness to it. I like the juxtaposition in this one of the harsh, aggressive and emotional vocal against that more electronic, computery, synthy side, which has got a bit more of a softness to it. Adds a bit of a juxtaposition within the music there. Very, very cool music. As I say, I won't be surprised if this guy gets noticed more in 2022, because there's not many guys making this kind of music and not making it nicely in this way as well, and putting out videos and stuff for people to get into and check out, and being a high quality product as a one-man band as well. And I'm sure I can't be the only one that hears, when you see a video like that, or of any of the videos that we've checked out today, and then you hear that they're a one-man band as well and they've done it all themselves, you go, damn, dope. You know, I wasn't expecting that. And it's just extra impressive. It's like when you hear a very high quality tech death band come through. It's not only great music, but you're impressed by the skill of the people that make the music as well. It's an extra thing that comes along with the track. And I think that's something that comes along with one-man bands, is you go, yeah, these dudes are doing all of that shit by themselves. How amazing is that? And I just think it is great. I love it. I love being in a one-band band myself as well. And not only that it's impressive that you get all this stuff done, the fact that once you've figured out how to get all this stuff done, the doors are open to creativity and absolute freedom. And these guys could write anything they want. There's no holds barred. There's no record company breathing down their neck telling them, oh, it's got to be more radio friendly than that, or this and that. They do what they want and they get it done themselves and put it out on the internet, and you either get on board with them or you don't, you know. And I'm very much on board with them. I've spoken to all these guys offline, and I kind of would call them online friends, and you know, if they need anything, I'll help them out and whatever, stuff like that, because I feel a kinship with other one-man bands. Maybe that's just me being daft, but I do. Whenever I see a one-man band come through, I'm like, yeah, all right, well, here's another one-man band for me to get on board with and start checking out. And there are a bunch of other guys that I want to just give a shout out to that didn't make this list today because the video would have been way too long. I've already been going on over 30 minutes and it would have been a kind of 50-minute video if we put all these guys in. But there's other guys that come through on the channel who I'm really on board with. Again, I talk to them outside of the show and would call them friends and all the rest of it, and we talk about music and stuff. And the other guys that have come through that I just want to kind of give an honourable mention to is, of course, Wisp Haven, who we've had on the channel in a bunch of different projects, doing a bunch of different styles. I've been on board with that guy for years. I talked about him a lot last year, which is why I didn't include him in this video, but that's another guy you definitely want to check out. Brian Eckerman, who put out a great album this year as well, high quality symphonic death metal, and his mixes have just got something special about them that sounds great. The drums sound amazing. Very, very high quality one-man band. But again, I think we spoke about him quite a lot last year, so I didn't want to, you know, go over stuff I've said before. We had Marion Drain Project on this year doing metalcore for us, which was very cool. I'm looking out for him more in the new year to see what he's got going on, because he's the kind of guy that's, you know, still got some ways to go in terms of perfecting what he's doing and becoming very, very high quality. But if he keeps heading down the same path that he is, I believe that he will. And that goes the same for Castle Ultra as well, who said he's going to send in every video that he puts out from here until eternity. So we're going to see him a bunch probably in the new year. But a very, very high quality guitarist who just needs to add that level of quality to his drums and his bass. And he'll be there, you know. So over the next year, I'm pretty sure we'll see him evolve and get better, and you know, just his compositions will get better because he'll put extra effort into the other areas of music. You know, when you're a one-man band, there's normally one instrument that you're very good at. I'm a guitarist. Castle Ultra is a guitarist. A lot of it is guitarists that want to get into it, because when you're a guitarist, you can kind of do the bass as well because it's pretty similar, and you've got an idea of how drums work, although guitarists who've never played drums before tend to write drum beats that no drummer could actually play. But, you know, I've had a bit of experience playing the odd drums in jams and things like that, so I've got an idea how it works, so I can get my head around doing some drums. And they're either lucky enough or not to be able to do the vocals as well. Now, it's very cool that the guys in today's videos are lucky enough to do the vocals, particularly Cincinatti Bowtie, because he does a lot of vocal work, and you know, he's working all the different stuff out. I'm not going to mention Nxxses because he's just the vocalist, but yeah, I'm unlucky in a way because I haven't got the voice to do the music that I want to do. I want to kind of do very screamy black metal stuff, and I can't do loud screams in my house anymore. My throat isn't up to it. And the only way I can hit those tones is by doing whisper screams and then putting a lot of distortion and stuff on it, which does work out. I'm happy enough with it. But unfortunately for me, I can't do the blackened wails and hysterical screams that I would love to put in my music, because I just can't do it. So you're either fortunate with that or not, that you can do the vocals or not with your stuff. So hope you've enjoyed that today. I really love checking out one-man bands. I could talk about one-man bands all day long. We've got a bunch of one-man bands who'd like to get on this show as well and hear me talking about their stuff, and they're heading, all of them, in the right direction. Some of them are really, really close to just being, you know, there and having a high quality professional product that they've done all by themselves. And then there's some other guys that are up and coming who over the next year, I believe we're going to see, you know, step up the ladder a lot more rungs, and by the end of next year we'll be saying the same about them, that, oh man, they've just got a little bit of polishing to go and these guys are going to be, you know, professional quality. You couldn't tell the difference. I think that's so sick. I hope you're on board with the one-man bands as well, because I do believe it's going to be the future of music. Once more people realise or grow up with the ability to record their own stuff, and it gets easier and easier every year as the more VSTs come out and DAWs, and the knowledge base is there as well. So you just build on it, build on it. I think going forward, we're just going to see more and more one-man bands and artistic solo projects creating music that you wouldn't normally get from a band with a bunch of people in them, and it's going to be the fresh stuff coming out. I can't wait for it. So we'll see you around, guys. I'm going to take the weekend off because we're doing some long shows this week in the roundup shows. I'm going to do 5 more roundup shows next week because there's still more bands and genres that I want to mention. Black metal, doomy stuff, post bands that we've had on. We've had some great stuff coming through on there as well. So that'll be what happens next week. So have a great weekend. I think I'll probably do a t-shirt competition and stuff over the weekend. Not a competition, but just a giveaway. So make sure you're looking at, you're kind of subscribed on Facebook and Instagram, because I post on there pretty regularly, and you'll be able to get yourself a t-shirt or a chance to win a t-shirt anyway. So hope you're having a good day, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you around.